Hi Sujata, I'm Amit Bhargava. I've been a mentor with PIC's Social Innovation Lab. PIC stands for Pune International Centre.
Of course, I know.
And yes, and then thank you so much for having us here at this wonderful Thermax office. So I'd just like to start off with a brief introduction of what the purpose of this interaction is. PIC has been among the many things it has been doing in the social space, has started conducting this lecture series which is called Beyond Profit Perspectives, where PIC wants to connect with organizations across the city of Pune, which have a large CSR fund as a part of their regular operation, and how they spend the CSR money. What are the various nuances or areas which they look at for the CSR expenditure. So we just thought that considering your organization is such a reputed organization within Pune, that we would just ask you some questions about it and get to know you more. So that being the context of this interaction, I'd really like to start this off by getting to know more about you. I'm sure we'll talk about what your role at Thermax has been, but before that, I'd like to get to know you. So if you could just talk us through that.
Sure. Thank you so much, Amit, and it's a pleasure that you have come here. And I have already seen the Beyond Profit series, and I think it's a great thing that you're trying to compile CSR stories. So I have been with Thermax for more than 15 years.
Wow.
So in different capacities and roles, mainly into learning and development space. And I think CSR role is both design and destiny. Because I was into learning and development, and I was doing competency mapping and development centers, assessment centers. For years I was doing that, and I was having a close interaction with the CSR team, and I came to know that and of that time I was also pursuing my PhD, and I wanted to learn more about the difference between andragogy and pedagogy. So I wanted to see how teacher training takes place in the municipal schools. So I was very closely working with the CSR committee. I used to go to some of our schools.
Oh, nice.
And that was the time I came to know that Teach for India fellowship was opened up for lateral hires also. It was not necessarily only for the graduate engineers. So I thought, let me just take a chance, and I cleared that fellowship, and our company sponsored me for 2 years.
Oh, nice. That's
so that
nice.
I think was the most life transforming phase.
I'm sure it was.
A proper municipal school teacher with a master and so many kids in a market yard school, and today those kids are in their first year of graduation, and I'm still in touch with them. So that was a extremely you can say a very different journey. And when I came back, as for the commitment or bond that I had to come back on the same role in the company, I was going through a certain dilemma whether I want to go back to the same thing, because now I've seen so much of a reality in actual work, and it so happened that there was a vacancy in CSR, and then I was offered the role as a CSR head. So from 2014 and then 17 I joined as a CSR head. So that has been the...
All right. Okay, so I just read up on the website, and I've done some bit of research about what Thermax has to offer, particularly from the CSR bit, and what all the Thermax Foundation has been doing. So I found that primary education plays an important part in the scheme of things for Thermax Foundation. Just would just like to hear what is the reason behind it, and why this particular focus.
So you are right. From 2007, in fact, much before the Act came, where we have to have 2% net profits for CSR, and much before that, Anu and Meher, of course, were doing through their personal philanthropy. But 2007, from Thermax, we had started focusing in CSR, and we were focusing only on primary education, because we believed that education is a panacea or medicine to all the socio-economic challenges that are there.
Okay.
And because that time the report of ASER and many other Pratham report etc. showed that the government schools did not have age appropriate and grade appropriate reading and comprehension and numeracy skills, they were lacking.
Okay.
So during that time there were various discussions about how do we strengthen the government schools.
Okay.
So it was decided by our committee at that time, and Mrs. Aga was the chairperson at that time, and we decided that we will not spread ourselves thin, because we always have limited funds with many alternative users. Correct. And we have to go deeper into education. And we wanted to strengthen the government schools, but we did not want to wear the hat of an education expert and start running a school. We thought we will go through a trusted partner, and we were partnering with Akanksha to start with.
Yes.
So that's how our journey started in primary education and education in particular.
All right.
And that stayed, and it's still there as a core part of us.
All right. Yeah. So I chanced upon one other word which is called social, which is a social compact. Could you just elaborate on that? Almost like your social innovation. Yes. I in fact I'll talk about it a little later. But could you just shed some more light on social compact? Yes, sure.
So Thermax has been into a few areas, as I said, after education we have moved on to different areas which I'll be explaining to you later. One of the key things now that we do is called as social compact, which is actually a Thermax Limited's initiative, and then I will tell you how it has manifested in CSR. Okay. So this whole thing about social compact started post-COVID. When I'm sure you all must have seen on TV, millions of workers were just walking on the street because they were migrant people, unorganized sector people, because they did not have a place given a city. They did not have access to any of the government schemes or basic entitlements. So they chose between devil and deep blue sea to walk back and just test whether they can survive. But they did not have, the companies could not give them that assurance. So many like-minded people, and I'm very proud to say that Mrs. Meher Padamji, who is our chairperson, she's also one of the pioneer signatories to Social Compact.
Oh, interesting.
So Dasra was a institution which brought together many like-minded people, and they decided to start what is called as a responsible business. And under responsible business, they all signed a social compact. So social compact means that you want to keep your own first, you want to keep your house in order, and you want to see that whether the third party workers working with you in the O&M site, they get there are some tenets of checklists which are given, whether they have wages which are given on time, whether there's a safety requirement is there, whether there's a gender parity. So like that, there are some tenets on which we get ourselves audited. So Thermax first offered itself to this, and in fact Forbes, Marshall and TACO were already doing what is called as a worker facilitation center. So then Thermax CSR also started worker facilitation center. That is, while we put our house in order, we also have a center in the community where we give migrant workers and unorganized sector workers and other people who come connection to government schemes for them to understand what are their rights and entitlements. So that kind of a worker facilitation. So it's almost, you can say, a social innovation. I'm sure you all also doing something.
It's interesting that you mentioned that, because as PIC's social innovation lab, one of our flagship events which we've been hosting for about 8-9 years now has been the PIC's National Conference on Social Innovation, and that's held in November each year. Where we look to get ideas coming forth from social innovators across the country, which are divided into 3 rough categories, depending upon the area of impact. So we have urban, we have rural, and we have tribal. So depending on which area your innovation is impacting, they fall under one of these 3 categories. And then we obviously go through a screening mechanism of looking at the applications, looking at what stage are they in. And then we actually invite 6 finalists in each of the categories to come and present in the conference. The conference is a physical conference
Right.
which takes place in Pune,
Yes.
and it's it's heartening to see that it's those 7 or 8 minutes are just given to those innovators to present to the world what they have done. And the audience includes people, all the members of PIC. It includes a lot of CSR representatives from different organizations, and people who just have a bent of innovation from the social perspective. So it's really a fascinating thing, and we follow that up through with a mentoring program. So like you mentioned, it's not just about recognizing that this problem exists. It's also about hand holding some of those innovators through their journey. So that is also something which we focus on, and actually we are rather proud of that initiative. So yeah, it's a great event, and Thermax has always been participating in it. So I hope to see you there at this thing. So you mentioned that you.
I wanted to add something here about us about our social compact only, and of course that Thermax. When we started the Worker Facilitation Center, we did not want to start something on our own as a Thermax Foundation. So we sought partnership from corporates, and Bajaj Auto has become our partner. And we are running Worker Facilitation Center in PCMC, Pune Chinchwad area, Bhusri, along with a very credible NGO called as Ajivika, which is doing a lot of work for over 2 decades into rights and entitlements of labor. And we have not left it at that. Now we have factory locations at various places in India. So at our Savli factory also we have a Worker Facilitation Center. There we have partnered with Center for Social Justice. We have another one at Dahej, which is in Gujarat. And then best part is that we have partnered with, in our O&M sites, operation and maintenance sites, we have recently partnered with our customer JK Lakshmi Cements for their CSR. Again, we are running a facilitation center, which is in Sirohi, which is an aspirational district in Rajasthan, and another one in Sahibabad. So like that, we are, and we believe that this is a way to go. Like, it's a rights-based CSR, though it's strictly not. Of course, it's a part of Schedule 7 because that's what we are supposed to do. It's in terms of entitlements and in terms of elevation of poverty, but it's more of a rights-based CSR, and we believe that more companies should come forward and collaborate with us and independently go for a WFC. That is something.
Oh wow, that's really nice. So I guess right through all this thing, the focus has been on skill building, right? In building skills of people. So what are some of the nuances which you found? Because I know it's not an easy job. It's not a it sounds very glamorous to say that you are in the field of skill building, but to make a real credible impact, you have to do something special. So can you just elaborate on that?
Yes, sure. So apart from primary education and Worker Facilitation Center, the third important piece for us is that we have 6 factory locations. So we try to do something which is need-based near the factory. So we try to identify what are the needs, and again through a credible NGO we try and do that work. So most of the time our need analysis has indicated that the youth are not interested in doing agriculture, and then they are educated, unemployed, and just not neither they are migrating out nor are they doing anything productive. So when those needs were identified, we decided that the next focus for us is skill building. So every year we are training 700 on an average, 700 to 800 youth in different places. However, we have evolved because our leadership team has always been saying that it's not just checking whether they've got employability, but to track and see whether they have sustained in the jobs or not. And we've been doing a lot of experimentation. First Like for instance, we were doing just the 3 months programs, which are NSDC, and we realized that NSDC is given to anyone. So then now we gradually decided for those NSDC programs, we will do a psychometric test. And through we partnered with a few organizations, and we tried to do in vernacular language. If it's in Gujarati, we wanted to see, and try to get only those candidates who are suitable for, say, electrician, welder, fitter. So that was another experiment. Again, we tried to check and assess whether what is the attrition. 50%, 60%, like that still remained as an attrition. Then we did a bit of an introspection, and we realized that will we take an NSDC person who is 10th and 12th dropout on a permanent role in a blue collared space. So then we said, then let's take semi-skilled kind of the NCVT courses. So now we are very focused on NCVT related, ITI related, strengthening government ITIs. So and plus we give those students also a linkage to government schemes. So we do a lot of innovations there, and our leadership team is very, very particular about trying to see what is the actual impact done, what's the outcome, and should not stay at a like all of us are very, very focused on seeing that it's not just the numbers, but it's actually a difference to people's life.
So right through this, I'm sure getting employee participation and your leadership is obviously committed to this, but getting employee participation in your various initiatives is also going to be very, very important. So it can be in terms of effort, time, or just any other participation in the various initiatives that you run, which is really important. So what has been Thermax's take on it, and how have you gone about it?
Yeah, so employee volunteering is a very important piece for us. For us, it's very important that our Mrs. Aga and Meher always say that it's not about just signing a check and giving it to the NGO. So we all believe that employees should be contributing, and CSR is not just Sujata and a few people in the team, because we are just giving, we are executing, but it's the corporate social responsibility of all the employees. Though we are not where we want to be, we are struggling. What we do is, one of the things that we do is, when you talk about worker facilitation center, we are blue collared workers, our union leader, etc., have also decided that they have risen to the appeal, and they go into the field on every Sunday in each fortnight, and they give time and to identify the construction sites and workers who are going through situations where there's a safety issue, or they have payment related challenges. In fact, someone had 3 fingers chopped, so we ensured that they get pension for that. So employee volunteering is one thing which is happening here also. For skill building, we ensure that our employees go for soft skills training, or give them a perspective of how to use finances, because even though they are getting something like 10,000 salary or 12,000, to start with basics of finance management. We give factory visits and safety training through employees. And for the core employees, we are doing 2 types of employee volunteering. One is sensitization to social causes, like for instance, if there's rain, then we ensure we send appeals and our employees send grains, etc. We recently we had floods with so much of rain in Pune. So those kind of instances we do. Otherwise, what we want to do is some outcome based and sustained activities, like teaching in a school for 6 months, or trying to look at an NGO and mentoring them. So we are gradually moving there. We have, as I said, we still have a long way to go, but we keep doing something other than across various locations.
So interesting. At least the initial response has been positive for this.
Yes.
Okay. So I did hear a couple of mentions about NGOs coming up and partnering with various NGOs. So what is Thermax Foundation's criteria for selection of NGOs or these partners to work with? Can you just mention some of the parameters?
So actually, for Thermax, it's like a close-knit family. NGOs and Thermax Foundation it's a long-term relationship. In fact, the first partner, Akanksha, is there from 2007 till date. That way, we are very close-knit and very cautious about the NGO who partners with us, and very stringent criteria. Of course, the mandated 3 years being in existence, having all the legal documents like 12A, ATG, etc. are there. Those are the critical minimum. After that, we check, first it has to be a need for us. It all starts with a need. Then we start looking at who are the NGO partners. Then we get 2-3 NGO, the proposals from different NGOs. And once those NGOs approach us, then we do a lot of due diligence in terms of asking the referral check, going and visiting and trying to see how they're actually working. And then finally different levels of meetings, and then we decide finally everything. It has to be the impact that they are driving, what is their vision, how is it aligned to our vision. So a lot of
due diligence.
Tests are there. And as I said, it's a very, very close knit. So for we are not too much open for many NGOs, but whoever are our NGOs, we try to have at least a 3 to 4 year partnership minimum, and a very long kind of a.
So in PSC's Social Innovation Lab, we've mentored companies over the years. We have clearly about 120, 150 companies which we have mentored. We've started to see some NGOs also come forward which are doing some fascinating work. So I was just curious to know that if any such NGO which wants to approach you, then what is the process, or what are the next steps for that?
Most of the time we have a very focused approach. So we are very open to meeting the NGOs, getting to know what's happening in the world, trying to see if we can connect the dots, see where. So not necessarily every time the NGO and Thermax will only align. Right now I'm holding a position of co-convener of CII, Pune chapter. So then I keep meeting many companies. So it's possible that I know that so that is one. So that one is at a personal front. One is on official front. What happens is usually we don't go for NGOs coming and we deciding. It is always a need-based approach. Then we start sending feelers, and then if NGOs approach us, and they are then more than welcome. But it is never that we just met an NGO and we liked and we created a project for them. That doesn't work.
So another thing of the website which I was seeing was I noticed that in Solapur you've been doing some work with FPOs. Could you just elaborate on that, please?
So when we did the need analysis, we found that way back just pre-COVID, we had done a need analysis near Solapur factory. And even before we could start that, people said that if you do a need analysis and you miss the evidence, self-evidence, which is that it's a drought-prone area, and 3-4 years there was a problem. So we had to initially stop that need analysis and just give them tankers of water, because people used to stand in queues to wait for water. So first when we saw that, and that was very different from what we do, education and skill development has been our core area. So first we did this, and then we partnered with another very, very credible NGO, Manav Lok, which has been doing a phenomenal work in Ambejogai Bid area. We approached them, and first we did a river widening and stream widening and deepening kind of a work for almost 4 kilometer radius near that area. And as luck would have it, after that rains had started so well in that area that the problem of drought was solved. To the extent that the plan that we had to complete the stretch, we had to stop because the farmers were saying that our land is already, and the water table has risen, there is enough but they had another need. They said, how do we do farming in a water deficit area as such, and generally to learn some new scientific technologies, because 1 or 2 acre or 3 acre land holding person cannot have mechanization on the farm. So again, then we decided to bring them together, and again, of course, our NGO Manav Lok also advised us, and we did a lot of focused sessions with the farmers, etc. And some 300 farmers are now connected with us, and we are doing, I would say, the FPOs, there are many FPOs. For onion, people are very scared of having a FPO for onion. So we are doing for a farmer producing organization. Thermax is just funding it. We are not owning the FPO. We are just helping them for 3 years to, in phased manner, after registration, then forming a huge cold storage for them for the onion pricing, to help them have machines which can grade the onion and then have dried onion powder, help them with exports, etc. So it's a very great vision. Let's hope that in a few
Yeah.
years you see Horti Max onions being
Okay.
sold. So that's kind of a
Okay, so
thinking
that
we
is
should-
that
we are
is
at
the
a
end of
formative
this, right?
stage again. So I would only talk about the
Yeah.
progress when it's
Yeah.
done. It's now at a very formative stage.
All right. So thanks so much for all this, and it was great to learn about the various initiatives which Thermax has undertaken for this, and really fascinating to hear all the good work which Thermax Foundation is doing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for
Thanks.
spending this time with us, and as I discussed earlier, we at PIC look forward to working with Thermax
Definitely.
on the various initiatives. And thank you so much for spending this time this afternoon and for giving me the chance to come to this office and admire these locations and the thing. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Just one line. In fact, PIC and Thermax have a coordinate,
Yes.
have a very great association from this year,
Yeah.
anyways.
Yeah.
And so we look forward to similar good work together.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.